All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen of Piper, to the fourth edition of Ion Training. So, in this particular video right here, I'm going to be showing you some more things about data walls. Over the past semester, we've been using data walls that I've created to help you see your students' data concerning MAP and FastBridge and Panorama results and all kinds of fun stuff. But they've all been ones that I've created for you. So today, we're going to take our Ion education to the next level because I'm going to show you how you can make your own data walls so that you can see the data that's really important to you. If you want to see MAP scores right alongside Panorama scores, right alongside attendance numbers, right alongside discipline referrals, you can do all that, okay? Because that's the data that's important to you, so you can make your own data wall so you can see whatever you want to see. So this is what I'm going to show you in this video. So notice right here, we are at app.ion-k12.com. Now I know all of you have been eagerly watching all these videos so that you already have this bookmarked, but just in case you don't, there's the address right there. If you notice, once again, I am in my training school, so all the data that you're going to see, these are fictitious students, fictitious data, so don't worry about anything like that. So let's go ahead and dive right into some data walls. Now, over the last couple of videos, I've been harping about that blue shortcut button. That's going to be the shortcut to take us to data walls, but that's only going to take us to data walls that have already been built. Today, we're not going to data walls that have already been built. We are going to create our own brand new data wall. So we're not going to use that shortcut. Instead, we're going to come over here down to data, and then we're going to choose data wall, and oh my goodness, right there it is, new data wall. So I'm going to click on data wall. Oh man, this is exciting. It's like giving birth to our brand new data wall. So this is going to be great. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to give this data wall a name. So this is going to be fun. This is going to go brand new data wall. Yeah. That's going to be our data wall name. And then down here is the scope. Now this is actually going to be kind of important for you to do because we don't want to clutter up the entire system with fresh data walls all over the place. So you want to make sure you're putting the data wall in the right place. For the majority of the data walls that you are going to make for your own personal enjoyment, you're going to have the scope just being me, okay, which is you. That way, only you can see that data wall. It's going to go into the My Data Wall folder. No one else is going to be able to see it. It's just going to be for your own benefit, and that's how most of your data walls are going to be. However, let's say that your principal or assistant principal or instructional coach kind of gives you a project to work on that you want to build a data wall for the rest of the school to look at. Well, then you can change your scope down here to school, for instance. And that'll put it in the school data wall so that all the people at your building that you've been assigned to can see that particular data wall. Or you can choose district, and that's going to put it in the district data wall category. And if you notice the data walls that I make, I put in the district wall category because they are things like MAP and FastBridge and Panorama that all of us need to be able to take a look at. So I go ahead and put them in the district data wall so that we can all see them. I only have to make one data wall for everybody. Okay, see, it's kind of nice. But the majority of your stuff is going to be for me, and I'm going to hit save, and this is going to take us to our brand new screen. The data wall creation screen is going to have three major areas to it. This purple one is going to be the properties of the data wall. The blue one are going to be all the possible things I can add to the data wall, and the green over here is kind of like a little preview of what that data wall is going to look like. So let's start over here with the purple one. I'm just going to walk through these real fast. So data wall name, hey, if you're not happy with the name that you chose or you misspelled something, don't worry, you can change it anytime right here. The scope you can also change anytime. If you want to click on a folder, so if you click on a folder right here, like I have folders right here on my thing. So I have like my board reports that I make, I have any reports that Dr. Dane wants me to make, and I have MAP by grade level I've made. So I can choose one of those folders to put it in, or I can click add folder, but this is just in my walls right here. So I can do whatever folders I want to see, okay? But I'm going to hit cancel because I'm not going to put it in a folder. But I just wanted to show it to you guys. Other things down here, filters. This is kind of an important thing right here that you might want to look at. So let's say you want to do a data wall, but you only want to look at the freshmen that you have in your class. So let's say you're at the high school and you only want to look at the freshmen. So if I come over here to filters, I can have my grade set equal to 9. When I click OK, what that's going to do is when I look at my data wall, it's going to filter out all the kids who are not freshmen. So that's one way I can filter. But there's a couple other options I can see. So I can do like grade, for instance, grade is greater than or equal to 7. So now I'm seeing all of my 7th. So if I'm at the middle school, I can now see all my 7th and 8th graders. Okay, so you can do that. But there's a lot of other things. You can do things based on gender and race and ethnicity and 504 status and ESOL status and look at all those different options that you have. You can do it by course, you can do it by section name. There's all sorts of things that you can do for filters. So anyway, so that's the filter thing. Today I'm not going to filter anything. I'm just going to leave it alone. Points are kind of interesting right here. Is points can be something on your data wall that if you want to look at, for instance, your high-risk students and say, hey, I'm looking at a bunch of, I have on my data wall the number of office referrals they have. Well, I can put 0 to 2 office referrals is going to show up as green, and that's not going to be worth any points. But if they're 3 to 4 referrals is going to be worth 1 point, 4 to 6 referrals is going to be worth 2 points, and anything more than that's going to be worth 3 points, and that's going to show up bright red. The more points a student has, I can then sort by those points, and we can see who my red flag students are in any particular area. So the point thing, it might be kind of advanced right here, but anyway, this is where you can kind of turn them on and off like that based on points. And then finally, the advanced thing, also kind of a cool feature, because if you want to take, for instance, a screenshot to show somebody some data that you're looking at, but you want to keep that information confidential, you can choose this right here as hide student names. This is a good option to pick if you're going to be sharing this information with people outside of the school, outside of the building. This is going to be kind of a critical thing for you to have, okay? So anyway, so there's the purple box right here. That is data wall properties that you can take a look at. Now, let's take a look at the fun stuff. This blue box right here, available columns. There are so many available columns for you to put on your data wall, and this is where you can really choose what is important to you. So if I click on assessments, now 90% of the things right here are going to be in the assessment. These are all the assessments. So I have ACT, I have FastBridge, F&P, Foundations, state assessments right here, and so on, all the way down the list. So there's all the assessments that are currently built in. And as we continue using ION over the years in this district, this list of assessments are going to continue to grow. And that's going to be awesome because we can have tons of data in the system so you can see what's going on. So let's start building something. Okay, let's see what it looks like. So let's take a look at, for instance, map scores. So let's say we want to put in map. So I could click on map. That opens up. The map actually has 4 different tests that it gives. We can take a look at geometry. We can take a look at language, mathematics, or reading. So let's say we want to take a look at reading. Now it opens up into map reading. And now here are all the things that map reading keeps track of. So the map reading test. Here's your map reading overall score. They can also take a look at ACT college readiness, fall to fall actual, whether they met the projected growth or not, what was their observed growth, what was their projected growth, fall to spring, fall to winter, all the same thing. They're also thrown in here the actual skill categories that come in with maps. So there's foundation skills, informational text, and literature, and language and writing, and all sorts of things that you can choose. So pick what you want to take a look at. So let's take a look at just map overall reading, and that's going to take us to the column detail screen. So from here, we can really tell ION what information we want to pull from it and what we want it to look like. So the first thing right here is, well, here's the label. Don't mess with the label. Just leave that part alone. Display field. With display field, now map does different levels of score. So okay, some of these tests like F&P only have one thing in this category, but map actually you can tell different things. You can take a look at a score, you can take a look at the percentile, the proficiency level, or the risk level. So you decide what you want to be. If you want to take a look at RIT score, there's RIT score right there. But I like to take a look at percentiles. Those make more sense to me because I don't have all the RIT scores memorized for K through 12. So let's take a look at percentiles. Now term. Well, which test do you want to take a look at? Do you want to look at the scores from their fall score, their winter test, or their spring test? So let's take a look at fall scores and then test grade. If you are a high school teacher and you want to see what they got in the fall of their 8th grade year, that's what you're going to choose, their fall test of their 8th grade year. If you want to take a look at what they got most recently, the fall of their 9th grade year, there it is right there. But if you want to look at this most recent category, this is kind of interesting because this just tells ION, hey, look at all the fall scores and then just tell me the one that they took the most recent. For 99% of our students, that's going to be the one they just took last August. But maybe there was a kid who was absent that week during the testing window, and so they didn't take a map score this particular year. Well, the score that's going to show up on their data wall, if you choose this option, is going to be their fall score from their previous school year, because that's the most recent test they took in the fall testing window. So that's where you want to choose most recent, okay? So that anyway, that's what most recent means, and you can have this be most recent if you just want to take a look at, hey, I just want to put the most recent time they took a map test. I don't care when it was, just give me their most recent score. There you go, choose most recent, most recent. Now, one thing to warn you about, and I just learned this week, is that if you are making a data wall where you're doing manual data entry, like I talked about in video number 3, well, you cannot choose most recent. You actually have to pick that you want the score that is entered to be in the category of fall of their 5th grade year. You have to be specific when you're doing this, okay? And finally, let's come to indicator bands right here. Indicator bands, this is where you can kind of do some things right here. So let's say I want to enter low 70 so any score from 70 to 90. I want that to be pink and worth 0 points, and I can hit save. Now the other thing, I guess I should probably show you this too, is I can choose labels. So that would be, I want to say this is awesome. That's the label. I'm going to spell it correctly actually, and choose a correct punctuation. Oh my goodness, there we go. So label awesome. I can change an icon right here. So awesome's going to have a star onto it. And I can change the order that I want. So if I want that at the top of the list, that's where it's going to be, and I can choose that. So I save that right here. So any from 50 to 69, because I don't want to have any overlap. Let's have that one be this lime green color, and I want that to be worth 1 point. And then anything from 0 to 49 is going to be, hey, if we go brown, it kind of looks like, there we go, Spumoni ice cream right there. And I want that to be worth 2 points. And so I hit save right here, just like that, and now I'm ready to go. So over here, it now shows, hey, I have map, reading, I better hit OK. Over I have map, reading, fall, grade 5, and that's what it's going to be, okay? So there's my first test. So now let's actually see what it looks like on the wall. So I'm going to come over here to View All, and let's see what it looks like. Now, it doesn't look all that cool because, like I said, I'm in the training school, and so these kids actually don't have data right in here. But this is where all the data would be right here in this column. Notice here's that point column that we were talking about earlier. So if students do fall in different categories and they get points for this, I can then sort by points, and that would kind of show me which kids were the most at risk for certain things. That is really handy when I'm looking at data points that are not necessarily related to each other, like MAP scores and attendance and behavior referrals. But I want to see, hey, is there somebody who's kind of in that yellow zone on all 3 of them? Hey, that's a kid who might be kind of at risk, and I want to take a look at them. So that might be something you might want to use points for, okay? But anyway, there's one data wall, okay? So now, let's say I want to have this data wall and I want to add to it, or I want to change some information on here. This little gear is where you go to, so I'm going to click on this little gear, and I'm going to choose Edit Wall, and that is going to take us right back to this screen again. And so now I can start entering more information. So now let's say I have map scores on here. I want to take a look at their XSEL labs. This is our social emotional, what we do for elementary school. So I want to say, hey, you know what did they do in social perspective taking when they took it in the winter of their 2nd grade year? And I hit OK. I don't need any color commands for that. And then let's come down. Let's pick something different. Let's do behavior, the number of behavior events they have. Ooh, that looks pretty good. And now we have 3 data walls in here. So now that begs the question, how many columns can you put on one single data wall? Well, you know what? There's only one way to find out. So I asked my buddy Jake at Ion the other day, what is the limits to the number of columns you can put on a data wall? And he said, oh, probably about 120. Well, you know what? He was way off. So what I did is I took every single assessment and category that you can possibly put into a data wall, every single column, and I put them all in one data wall. And as I scroll over, you can see what all the different columns are. There's our ACT scores, there's our MAP scores, and some FastBridge, and all sorts of things to do it. And you know what? This goes way past the 120 columns that I was told from Ion was the limits, all the way over here to, well, as I keep going right here, 513 columns later, we finally reach the end of our data wall. So I think you can pretty much make a data wall for whatever you want to take a look at. Okay. Now, I could have gone further because I could have not only put in every single column for every single assessment that we do, but also put in different testing windows and different school years and all that stuff for us. But I think I'm fine on my test doing 513 columns, and judging by the amazing sound that my laptop fan is making, and I'm sure that the smoke coming out of the back of that is, I'm sure that's just temporary and not anything to worry about. But anyway, you can make a data wall that is as big as you want, okay? So anyway, that is how to make some data walls. Have some fun with it, play around with some data walls, kind of create your own, and let me know if you have any questions on that, because making data walls is kind of fun, and it makes this truly customizable to what you find important in your classroom to take a look at. And if there's anything that you want to see on here, any other things that you want to do, come take a look at me. But my next couple of videos, I'm going to show you more about data walls, because there's more things to do with them. But this kind of talks about the basics of how to create one yourself. Okay, everybody, have fun, be data informed, and have an awesome day.